Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, the Tasmanian Government will establish a review into child safety at the Launceston General Hospital. It follows harrowing evidence given at the Commission of Inquiry unearthing years of mismanagement by senior staff at the expense of abuse survivors.
The Commission of Inquiry has shone a light on past failures. Now it's the government's turn to act.
And we are acting to ensure that those past wrongs can never ever be repeated.
Announcing an immediate review into child safety at the Launceston General.
Have a particular focus on the handling of serious misconduct, such as institutional child sexual abuse, through the lens of child safety.
An expert panel will be rallied this week, while victim survivors will be at the centre of providing advice among the hospital shake-ups, education in grooming behaviour and mandatory notification requirements for staff.
I will personally lead the implementation of the recommendations, and I commit to each of the victim survivors that the change will be implemented across the entire Department of Health, including services and corporate areas.
It follows damning evidence given at the Commission of Inquiry last week, revealing senior staff turned a blind eye to paedophile nurse James Griffin for decades.
We need to hear all of the wrongs that we heard last week and actually act on them.
Welcomed as a step in the right direction.
We're very pleased that it will offer the opportunity for a number of our members, for victim survivors representatives to be a part of that committee, and also the fact that there will be some objective and independent oversight.
While some staff have taken extended leave after giving evidence at the inquiry, it's expected significant changes will be made within hospital management following the review. Recommendations will be handed down later this year. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
A woman in her 40s has been airlifted to the Launceston General Hospital overnight after a quad bike crash on Flinders Island. The woman was riding without a helmet when she lost control entering Edens Road just after midnight. She received serious injuries to her upper body and was transported by the RFDS in a serious but stable condition. A pillion passenger was also not wearing a helmet but was not injured. 2 wards at the LGH have been closed to visitors after a number of patients returned positive COVID-19 results. The Regional Health Commander says visitors will be restricted and there are no new patient admissions to the wards. Visitors to the hospital are reminded they have to answer screening questions before they can enter the LGH. Dozens of Tasmanians have gathered on Parliament lawns calling for the immediate release of Julian Assange from prison. The WikiLeaks founder is set to be extradited from Britain to the US to face espionage charges.
Without the thought that the weight of even Australian government will fall on him, let alone that of major powers like the US and the UK, Sweden, Ecuador.
Cake was handed out to Assange's supporters to celebrate his 51st birthday. Communities Tasmania has confirmed juveniles at the Ashley Youth Detention Centre are being housed in their rooms due to staff shortages. It's understood the facility has been in lockdown for about a week. They say despite some challenges, the department is supporting staff to assist those inside, including adequate exercise breaks and access to phone calls. Schooling is also continuing. Tasmania's Aboriginal community is being urged to show up and stand up in decisions and debates which affect them. It comes as hundreds gathered in Hobart to mark the beginning of NADOC Week at a community event this afternoon.
A time to recognise and celebrate a society 40,000 years old and growing.
More Tasmanians are yearning to understand a connection that they are actually living in a community that has the oldest living culture on the planet.
NADOC Week started today across the country. Hobart's Nyari Near are marking the occasion with a special celebration this afternoon. From traditional tucker to food for thought and cultural awareness, today was a showcase of Aboriginal culture.
I guess there are times when we all need to share a little bit.
They get to form good relationships, elders get to share knowledge and pride in who they are.
It is a place of celebration
a place of learning, a place of coming together.
The event providing some practical knowledge.
What are the edible plants that we can use for medicinal cuisine? What are the ways that we can have healthy practices for our own sense of well-being?
Also providing a time of renewal and focus. NADOC Week's theme is Get Up, Stand Up, Show Up, encouraging Aboriginal people to continue that momentum for change. As debates about protest laws, treaty and reconciliation heat up, Tasmanians are being urged to get their voice heard.
A big topic for mob a lot of the time is like, are you doing the right thing? Are you getting out there and sending out the message of what we need as a community?
Those with questions are encouraged to ask.
Be comfortable enough to receive the answer also. So it's not necessarily the topic, but just be comfortable to ask the question.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
To some breaking news now. Tasmania Police is responding to a car crash near the Glenorchy police station. It's understood a pedestrian has been hit. Details of injuries are not yet known. Main road Glenorchy is closed between Lambton Avenue and Elwick Road. Launceston has shown its support for women in America at an abortion rally in Princes Square this morning. Organisers said they're shocked that in 2022 some still can't make choices about their own bodies. Despite abortions being safe and available in Tasmania, they called for more private clinics to be established. About 300 abortions are carried out in the state every year. Tartan has taken over Launceston as the city hosted its inaugural event for World Tartan Day. Hundreds watched and listened on as bagpipes, bands and dances were performed in traditional Scottish style.
Everyone and their dogs pulling out their tartan.
Today is Tartan Day, International Tartan Day around the world.
Launceston jumping on board and hosting its inaugural event.
Worldwide, there's 3,500 tartans registered through the Scottish Tartan Registry, and they control what tartans can be produced, and 150 each year get added to it.
Many watched as bands took front of stage and dancers performed Highland spectacles. Onlookers also encouraged to break out their tartan.
This is Mackenzie. It's an ancient Mackenzie. Unfortunately, I don't fit into my kilt now, so I had to wear my scarf.
Tartan runs through Margaret East's veins. Before she herself became an institution of Highland dance right here in Launceston, her dad was a drum major.
He was a piper from a very early age. He had a full set of pipes at 9, which is apparently quite young for a piper because they're a quite difficult instrument to learn and to play.
The Launceston RSL band getting their tartan from Victoria Police's world champion band some years ago. The commissioner at the time disallowed them to compete.
They ended up with a whole stock of uniforms that they needed to get rid of, and our band was just starting at the time, and here we are now all these years later.
The Tartan Terrors outfits show signs of their former bands.
We are pipe band refugees. We've left the pipe bands and we do now meet and do all our tunes together, and we go out and give concerts to nursing homes.
As for the old wives' tale of what's underneath, others have had to get creative to keep their kilt in place.
Oh, I nearly lost it on Anzac Day.
You did lose it on Anzac Day. It hit the bitumen.
If nothing else, it shows Launceston is a cut above the rest. Talia Jordan, 7 Tasmania News.
The Festival of Voices has shone a light on one of Hobart's most notorious historical sites. Walk With Me tells the stories behind the Cascade Female Factory, with dozens braving the cold to attend. 4 different choirs use the power of song to bring to life the mistreatment and dispossession thousands of girls and women face behind the walls. More than 7,000 females spent time at the facility, with around 2,000 babies born. A popular art exhibition has reopened for another year, showcasing a variety of different community art at the Rosny Farm Arts Centre. Organisers say the Clarence Open Art Exhibition allows everyday Tasmanians to participate in a professional showcase. This year's top prize awarded to an artwork named Draft Interior.
I'm very flattered, and I'm glad that people took enough interest in my work to give me the prize.
The exhibit is open until July 24 from Wednesday to Sunday. Meanwhile, the Allies have gone down to Victoria Country 75-42 in their latest National Under-18 Championship match at the Gabba. North Launceston's Brandon Leary getting the Allies off to a perfect start, scoring the opening goal of the game.
He knows where the sticks are, Brandon Leary, and he's kicked the first of the day at the Gabba.
Leary also showing his flair, proving hard to contain up forward. The Allies started strongly and led at quarter time, but Victoria kicked 9-3 in the rest of the match, marching away to a 33-point win. The Allies travel to Adelaide next Saturday to face Western Australia. In the NBL1, the Northwest Thunder is back on the winners list after a comfortable 25-point win over Dandenong last night. The Thunder extending its lead at every change, running out 92-67 winners. Ben Woolley was in fine form off the bench, hitting 22 points, including 18 from beyond the arc. Fabian Krislovic also standing up with 23 points.
Krislovic goes to work on King Hawaii. Krislovic rolls off, gets the friendly roll and drops in 2.
Meanwhile, a 32-8 first quarter barrage helped Launceston also get up over the Rangers, 91-65. Keely Froling once again starring, scoring a game-high 25 points. The Tornadoes sit 5th on the ladder.
Good evening. 14 in Hobart today, Burnie and Devonport 13 and 11 in Launceston. 14 across King Island and Flinders Island, Smithton and St Helens 13 and Strawn 14. On the close-up, cloud extends across the Western District and Bass Strait Islands with clear skies across the rest of Tasmania. Further out, low-level cloud can be seen along the southern coastline of Australia with mostly clear skies elsewhere. Tomorrow shows a trough over the Tasman Sea extending into a low over New South Wales. Northwest to westerly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, swells up to 4 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart partly cloudy, 13 about Dover and Ooze. In the north, Launceston morning frost and fog, Devonport and Scottsdale mostly sunny. Burnie and Stanley tomorrow partly cloudy and 14, showers in Strawn. St Helens 14, partly cloudy in Swansea and 12 in Ross. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now: Tuesday, showers about the west and far south, developing about the southeast coast in the morning. Wednesday, showers developing about the north during the morning. And Thursday, showers about the west, south and central areas, fine elsewhere. Capital cities 20 and sunny in Perth tomorrow, Melbourne 14 and heavy rain in Sydney. And currently Hobart 8 and partly cloudy, Launceston 4 and Devonport 7 and clear. That's all in weather, Tom.
Thank you so much for joining us as always. Kim's back in the chair tomorrow night. A very good evening.